Welcome to Thez Nutz Garage, and today we're going to be working on this 2007 Ford Sport Trac. All right, like I said in the intro, what we're going to be doing is working on this 2007 Ford Explorer Sport Trac. This has I think it's a 4.0 V6 in it, and we've been having some problems with this truck. This is my mother-in-law's truck, where there's kind of a horrible squealing noise coming from underneath the hood, and I think the problem has finally revealed itself to us. Now, the history on this problem is she had a squealing, and then her belt, I guess she went somewhere to get it looked at, and they replaced the belt because the belt was starting to shred on it. And so they replaced the belt, and then it kept squealing, and they was like, well, it's probably a idler pulley. So she bought an idler pulley, and I came home and I replaced the idler pulley, just kind of backed the belt, you know, loose and put that one idler pulley onto it. Didn't really look at a whole lot. Started the truck back up, and it's continuing to squeal. So I was like, well, let me check the other, you know, because you have a tensioner pulley. I took that off, and it was kind of starting to go bad. It needed to be replaced. And if you're replacing the belt, I kind of suggest go ahead and replace your tensioner pulley and your idler pulley just as a set, just because they're relatively cheap, and that way you don't have to worry about them, you know, again. But put a new tensioner on it, still squealing. Looked at the alternator, was checking to see if it was the alternator, not the alternator. I was thinking, well, maybe it's the water pump, maybe it's the clutch fan, maybe it's the power steering pump. And I just haven't had a chance to really dive back into this truck over the past month because I've been really busy. So she was going to work the other day, truck just starts acting real funny and just completely shuts down on her. And she had to have it towed back to the house. Now, I got over here last night, and being that the truck wouldn't start, that's going to be your crankshaft position sensor. And I'll show you those parts here later in the video, so stick around for that. So I removed the crankshaft position sensor, and it's about halfway eaten through. And I'm like, why is the harmonic balancer riding on that sensor so bad? And just by looking at it, I'm thinking, well, the harmonic balancer must have pushed back. So I went to AutoZone, you know, everybody's favorite auto parts store, and if they would like to sponsor me, I would love it because I need free parts. So tag them in this video. So I went to AutoZone and got the crankshaft sensor, and I think it's like 19 bucks a Dorman. And then I was like, let me lay my eyes on a harmonic balancer for this truck. And when I looked at it, I was like, well, I'm going to take it with me so in case I need it, so, you know, while I'm here, I don't have to run back to the store. So when I got back here last night, I looked at this harmonic balancer, and then I was looking at the one that I had bought, and I'm like, they're not even nowhere close, because the harmonic balancer on this truck looked like it was two-staged. And I'm like, well, that can't be right. And what had happened is when the harmonic balancer had started pushing its way back, and when she first started working on this truck, it started the outer edge, because there's a piece of metal, rubber, and then another piece of metal, and they're held together by this rubber, and that kind of makes a dampener and all this other stuff. So the outer piece had slid back. Well, whoever replaced the belt the first time the belt must have been running crooked. That's why it was shredding. So when they went to go put the belt back on the truck, they actually put it on the rubber part of the harmonic balancer, not the metal that it's supposed to ride on that has pushed back. They put it on the rubber. So after that, when I got a hold of it, I just didn't really pay attention to it and put the belt right back over where it was because it was all in line. And she's been driving that way for, I don't know, a month or more, with the belt actually not riding on the metal part of the pulley, but the rubber part of the harmonic balancer. And I'm going to show you that right now, so that way you can kind of understand what I'm talking about. Alrighty, so if you'll look way down here, and I'm going to try to get my finger down there, right there. Right there is the harmonic balancer. And I'm going to zoom in a little more, if it'll let me. Oops. Focus, camera, focus. Alright. So you can see, I'm going to try to use my finger again. Right out here, that's the belt where the belt's riding. And that's actually rubber. And then here is the metal that the belt should be riding on. And what had happened is this outer part of the belt, or harmonic balancer, pushed back. And then the first person put the belt on wrong, and then I continued to do so. And what it did is it kept that outer part of the harmonic balancer pushed back, where it rode into and basically almost cut in half the crankshaft position sensor. So what we're going to be doing today is removing this harmonic balancer, putting a new one on, putting a new sensor on. But first thing what I have to do is get this truck, maybe this camera will focus again, sorry, in there. Because I really don't feel like working on this out here in the yard because it's been raining and I'm going to get soaking wet laying on the ground. So what I'm going to try to do is pull that outside harmonic balancer back away from the truck and put the new sensor on it, get it running enough that I can get it inside of this garage. So I'm going to try to get that done and see if I can get it in the garage, and I'll come back and we'll get to working on this thing. Alrighty, so what you see me doing, crawling in and out from underneath this truck, is I was trying to push this harmonic balancer, that outside edge, let me zoom in here, focus, back towards the front of the truck where it's supposed to be. That way I can reinstall my new sensor to start the truck up to be able to get it into the garage. Alright, so like I said, last night I removed the old crankshaft sensor. As you can see, that harmonic balancer just ate into about half of this thing till it just killed it. So here's the new one. This is a Dorman part. Like I said earlier, I did get it from AutoZone. So there it is. We'll be reinstalling this real quick. These are the two bolts that come out of it. They're not very long. I think they're 8mm right there. There's two of them, as you can see, one here and one there. And I'm just using a regular ratchet here with an 8mm socket. I'm going to jump under the truck real quick. I'm going to show you where this sensor goes, and then later on I'll probably be, once I get the truck in the garage and I start working on it, I'll remove this sensor, so as I'm messing with this harmonic balancer, I don't damage this sensor. I'm just putting it on there temporarily to move the truck. Alright, so we're underneath the truck, and very tight spot here, especially trying to hold a camera, so I'm sorry if it's shaky. But right up here is where the sensor is going to go. Like I said, it's just two 8mm bolts, and when you remove it, you'll see where it goes. But this is, you can see that I've got this harmonic balancer, the front of it all lined up the way it's supposed to be, just to get it out of the way of cutting up this new sensor. Alrighty, so let's see if this will start up enough. And when I start this up, all these check engine light bells will probably be going off, but get it started up enough I can get it in this garage. She is not happy. I guess the other day when it shut down and was carrying on, it really probably threw a lot of oil or something. I don't know. It just seemed to be running rough. You see it's smoking too a little bit. It usually doesn't do that. She said it was kind of herking and jerking as it died on the road, so I can imagine it kind of don't think it did any damage. Seems to be running all right, but the startup's kind of, I got to get a running start at this. Ooh, make sure I don't hit my mirrors. Got to get another running start at it. All right, I think that'll be good. All right, so I guess what I'm gonna have to do next, starting out, is I'm gonna have to drain some of my coolant from my radiator, because I probably need to remove this upper hose. I don't think I need to remove, drain all the coolant out of it, but remove the upper hose, remove this reservoir, remove the fan clutch and the fan shroud. And I think, and once I get to doing this, I'll try to get the camera back over here in between each kind of little portion that I'm doing, kind of come back in and show you what I'm doing. But after I get this removed, I'll be able to, that should give me enough room to access that harmonic balancer and get that pulled off. I don't see why I have to remove any of my idler pulleys, anything like that right off the top of my head. But if we have to, we have to. All right, so I have fan shroud off, fan out, and now you can see we got good access to the harmonic balancer. So we should be able to pull this from here and not have to remove any of your idler pulleys or tensioner pulleys, unless if you're just wanting to replace your belt, because maybe it shredded your belt, and while you're there, go ahead and replace these. But these are both new, so I'm not going to replace them. I don't know if you've seen in that time-lapse video, I use this pneumatic, I guess this is a, I don't know what you technically call it, but I use it to pull that fan clutch off. And if you want to know the kit number, this is it right here. I guess it is a, right there. It's a Lyle clutch wrench. That's just a pneumatic fan clutch wrench set. I think I got that off of eBay. No, I got it off Amazon because I'm fixing to redo the timing chains on my Expedition. So I was getting all the tools I needed for that, and just so happened this broke. So look at there. I got twice as much use out of this part as I thought I was. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and get ready, get set up to remove this harmonic balancer. And I'll come back. Maybe I'll try to set my camera up as I'm doing it so that way you can see. I also have a harmonic balancer kit puller as well, and that's going to be this. I got this also off of eBay, Amazon, because of the same reason. I got to pull the harmonic balancer off my truck when I do my timing chain, so twice as much use out of this tool. So I'm going to set up with this and I'll come back. Alrighty, so I have a, I guess a pulley removal tool down here on this, and I've basically broke it loose. Now with the way this harmonic balancer is, you kind of got to remove the bolt or loosen the bolt up that's in there, and then you kind of got to leave it in the crank a little bit, so that way you can put your pulley on it and put the head of the pulley on that bolt and kind of pull it out a little bit. I'll probably have to stop, undo all this, and start trying to get the harmonic balancer off by hand, or adjust that bolt. See, I'm up against it now, so what I'll have to do is remove this, and basically what I'll do is I'll come back and show you how I've kind of got this set up, because the way this harmonic balancer is made, the bolt will not pass through the harmonic balancer. All right, I've kind of readjusted the bolt inside the harmonic balancer. I've loosened it a little bit. I don't want to get it so loose that as I'm pulling this balancer out, it messes up the threads on that bolt. So it's just a little bit at a time, hoping that it'll come loose enough I can get it off. I'm using this wrench because there's probably a correct bolt or something that you can put through this, but I'm at home and I don't feel like taking 30 minutes to an hour to run into town and get a bolt. So I'm trying to work with what I have. I'm using this wrench instead of like some impact or something, so that way I can feel what's going on with that bolt. I don't want to mess anything up, and I don't want to force anything. See, like right there, it's bottomed out again. So what I'll have to do is readjust and see if I can get this off. All right, so I got the harmonic balancer out. And basically, here's my suggestion, is you need to find out whatever size thread this is and go get a bolt that's about 4.5 inches long. So that way it's kind of sticking almost out of the crank and through the harmonic balancer. So that way you can screw it in about 1/2 inch and then put your pulley on it, and then you'll be able to pull it right off all the way without having to readjust it. I finally had to make me this little thing to go in the hole, so that way my end of my pulley could hit this, pull it the rest of the way off, because this just wasn't working the way it should. So I'll try to go and find out what size bolt this is, and then I'll maybe put it up here in the screen somewhere. But it needs to be about 4.5 inches long, and only put in about 1/2 inch into the crank. Then you'll be able to just whip it right off. Now let's go over there, and I'm going to show you what has gone wrong with the pulley that was on it, and then we're going to get ready to reinstall ours. But now is a good time too, is to go ahead and tighten up. If you put in a new crankshaft position sensor, go ahead and tighten that up, because it's not going to interfere with me putting my new harmonic balancer on, and it's a lot easier to get to right here with all this gone. Alrighty, here's our old harmonic balancer, and this is our new one. Let me show you what was wrong with the old one. As it was actually sitting like this in the truck, and as you can tell, it pushed back, and like I said, that's why it was shredding the belts. And trying to get it right. So it was sitting like this in the truck. And so once it pushed back and shredded the belt, they put the belt right over top of this rubber, and it grooved it. You can see how it's grooved. So if you was just looking at it at a glance, you would think this was this, because it's already grooved. That's how much pressure was on the belt once they put it back on. So, but it's, you know, supposed to be like that, you know. So it's bad, and I mean, you could probably push it all the way off. Yeah, push it all the way off. Got a good ring of some sort. That might come in handy for something. So this is the new one. Like I said, here's your tone ring. That's what your crankshaft position sensor is picking up, and it picks up this missing tooth, and that's how it knows where the crankshaft is, the position of it is at. So we're going to go reinstall this. I'm going to put a little grease on the outside, a little grease on the inside. I do believe this kit comes with a new, I call it a keyway. So we'll put the new one in and get this reinstalled. And basically all we're going to do is push it as easy as we can onto the crank. You don't want to go beating on it with a hammer or nothing. You can damage some stuff like that. So we're going to get this pushed back as far as we can, get our bolt back in it, and then we'll slowly start tightening that up, pulling it all the way in where it's supposed to be. All right, I did want to show you something real quick. This is, I have my fan back on, and this is a wiring harness that goes down to the fan. The easiest way to remove this, you know, it has a little bolt right here. This is an 8mm bolt. And when you go to remove it, all you got to do is just take that bolt out and this little harness, this bracket, and just flip it down out of the way. But this right here, you don't have to undo this and slide the plug out and fool with that. Just undo the bracket right there. That's probably the simplest thing to do. And we'll just tighten it back up. And then plug it back in. And then all we'll have to do, like I said, is put my radiator hose back on, the fan shroud back on, upper part, and then fill it back up full of coolant. It should be ready to go. So, but I didn't show how to get that off earlier, so I just wanted to show that to you real quick. Just plug it in, and we'll replace the top and the hose, and we should be good to go. We also have our power steering pump to relocate, mount back up, but that should be it. Alright, so that's going to wrap up this video on how to change your harmonic balancer out and your crankshaft position sensor on a 2007-ish Ford Explorer Sport Trac with the 4.0 liter V6 engine in it. Now, as you can hear, it's not making any squealing noise anymore, so that was our issue, was that the harmonic balancer separated, pushed back into that crankshaft position sensor, and that was what making all that racket. Now, if you like the video, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'd ask you to subscribe to the channel, because most people who watch these videos don't even subscribe to the channel. And if you want to help little guy out, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and comment. What that does is allow YouTube's algorithms to do whatever they do, and I get paid for the advertisement that's in it. So that helps us grow the channel. So please like, subscribe, comment down below. All of those things.